With your question, can you tell me like a little bit more about what's actually going on?
Yeah, it was just the first time that I received like a negative comment, like a very, very negative, and also in a very rude tone, be like below one of the YouTube videos. And so far, I mean, I definitely know that I not only have friends, especially because I was also part of a network before, and you know how it is if you leave it. I never did any
Yeah.
network, just trading, but still people are like, oh, now she's doing her own stuff and so on. But now today it happened the first time that somebody wrote below the YouTube video. I'm going to translate it because it's in German. And he was like, oh my God, how bad can you be nowadays in trading? This is completely incompetent in each direction. Please be careful because this is just a Ponzi scheme. Save your money and think about, to put it in something else instead of people who are just incompetent and following a Ponzi scheme. I hope
Hmm.
this comment will save you. And I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Dealing with those types of people. Number one, you don't have to deal with them. You can just block them, move on, and that's fine.
Or you can just ignore it. But on one hand, you want to say something, but on the other hand, you just want to save your energy and be a little bit more stoic and just let it pass. But
Hmm.
you don't want people to think that it's actually a Ponzi scheme if it's not.
Discernment is very hard. So some people don't deserve a response. And so in some cases you shouldn't respond, or you should, ignore them. And in other cases, like with what I've been saying the last couple of days, there is a time to come out and address the public, address the situation, because it needs to be addressed. A random comment on YouTube may not need to be addressed. But if you want to keep it up there and then you want to answer them back, that's totally fine. These people that speak like that, it usually comes from a place of like they're hurting on the inside. Maybe they were scammed. We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they did follow someone that they listened to and maybe they lost money, or something happened to where now they're resentful with MLMs or with the company or with, whatever. And so when you understand, like, okay, they're not really talking about me specifically or what I'm doing. They're just hurt and they're looking for a way to express that. And so they see your video and they're going, oh, screw this person. I'm going to try and take it out on them. And so you kind of have to determine, like, all right, is this worth my time commenting on, or should I just, move along? One of the things that John Maxwell wrote about criticism is, one of the first things you have to look at is, who is it coming from? Like, who is critiquing me right now? If I'm trading or if I'm doing analysis and some new beginner has something to say, am I really going to listen, to them? If they don't have experience, they haven't done what I've done, they don't get results that I get, right? So you have to kind of have a filtering system of, who is this person, and so that's another thing too. If they're going to criticize me, are they credible enough to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I will keep it
Mm-hmm.
in mind. But the first time you're like, oh, that's rude.
It is. I mean, when I released my book, I think it was March of 2021,
Yeah.
and it was pretty positive for the first couple weeks, and then when it actually blew up on social media, there was a very large influx of people dropping 1-star reviews on it. A lot of people were, talking trash. And matter of fact, even on YouTube, at that same time, I actually got a couple death threats as well. So I
Whoa.
mean, like
What was
we're
it about
beyond.
the book? Like, what's the topic of it?
My book is on technical analysis,
Okay.
so like smart money concepts,
Yeah.
all that. So I had released that book, and the community on Twitter, one of the communities on Twitter, they came after me. And so it's beyond like, oh, you're this, you're a scammer, this and that. Now, it escalated to, we're gonna kill you, and that was more than one comment like that. So for
Wow.
me
How did you
now,
deal with it?
well, that's what I'm trying to explain. It's like, so now when people say something, it doesn't even phase me, because I'm like, bro, I'm I'm beyond death threats. So you can say whatever you want at this point. I've already gone through the fire. I've already gone through these things. So there's no way
Yeah.
you can phase me now. But that's the thing. And that's why I'm, hopping on this call with, because it's a lot easier to explain this, over a video than it is to
Thank you
text
so
it.
much. It's really, really nice. I appreciate it a lot.
You're welcome. It's That's just the main thing, is understanding they are coming from a place of hurt, especially when it comes from traders or just young people, because most people don't make money trading.
Yeah.
Most people struggle with trading. Dude, most people honestly struggle in life in general. They're struggling with their health and wellness, or their finances, or their credit, or their business if they're an entrepreneur, like whatever it is. And so a lot of people tend to take whatever problem they have, and they project that onto others. So I saw a lot of people projecting, but I understand where they're coming from, because I was once a young trader too. I was once a young entrepreneur as well. So I've been in their shoes, and I think because of that, I have a better understanding. So a lot of what they were saying was not true. They're like, "Oh, you're fat, you're this, you're that." And it's like they're just making stuff up, and just saying things because they're hurt. There's no reason to be mad at that. If you've never read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, have you read this one before?
No, this one, no.
Okay. Well, you said Stoic earlier, so
Yeah.
I that's why I had smiled at that when you said that, because I've been into Stoic philosophy for a little while, and this is a really good read. There's a couple quotes I wanted to share with you if you're cool with that.
Yes, I would be very happy about it.
Okay. At the beginning of book 2, Marcus Aurelius, by the way, was a Roman emperor.
Yeah.
So he was the most powerful man, like at that time in 161 AD, I think it was. And being the most powerful man in basically the world, he had a personal journal. And the thing is that he was all about personal development and all about personal mindset. He had many tutors and teachers as a young kid into adulthood that taught him philosophy, that taught him Stoic philosophy and things like that. So by the time he became emperor, I mean, he's like the ultimate personal development guy, right?
Yeah.
So he writes to himself all of these things. And so this is the first part of book 2. He says, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood or birth, but the same mind, and possessing a share of the divine. And so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the 2 rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions." They focused a lot on like nature, for example. So what comes natural?
Yeah.
And so he's basically telling himself, like, it's natural for us to work together. And if they want to be against me, that's fine, but I don't have to be against them. I control my actions, I control my mindset, and I
Yeah.
already know they're going to come to me, because as emperor, people are coming to
All you
him.
can control is basically your mindset and your reaction. You don't have to react to everything, let's say.
Exactly. And I forget where it's in here, but that's one of the things he said to himself as well. He said, "You always have the option of not having an opinion."
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that as well.
Especially with like facing hate, I would say. You don't have to react to it.
As emperor, people probably criticized him as well. I mean, because, they took over countries and continents and stuff. And so I'm sure people probably died, and, they were probably mad at Marcus, like, "You got my friend killed," or whatever. And so I'm sure he had to deal with those things too.
Yeah.
Let me see. On page 80, he says, "The only thing that isn't worthless, to live this life out truthfully and rightly, and to be patient with those who don't."
Yeah, that's the instruction how to deal with it.
Yeah, is you got to be patient. You got to be patient. He said later, he says, be strict with yourself, but tolerant with others. And that is hard to be tolerant with others, especially if we're in like a bad mood or something. It was Seneca. He was a Stoic philosopher. He was an advisor to the Emperor Nero years and years before Marcus was even born. And there's a short book called On Anger. And basically, Seneca says that delay is the best remedy for anger, which basically means don't respond right away. A reaction, like when we react to something, usually that initial reaction is wrong,
Yeah.
right? Because we're hasty,
Impulsive.
we're angry, so we
Yeah.
just, you know what I mean? So it's better to say, okay, let me pause for a minute, let me step back, let me see who is writing this YouTube comment, who are they, because a
Yeah.
lot of the times you'd be surprised. Some of these people that say something to me, I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And if I don't know you,
I don't know them.
if you don't know them, then how can they know you?
Yeah, true.
And if they don't know you, how can they make an assumption or a judgment about you? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So number one is just understanding that these people come from a place of hurting, in some form or fashion. And then number two, you got to look at who they really are. Are they credible? If it's a mentor of mine that's coming to me saying, hey, this, that, and the third, I'm gonna say, okay, maybe this is wrong. Maybe I do need to improve this or whatever. But if it's some random person, don't know them, they don't know me, they're just talking just to talk, that is the people who usually don't deserve a response. You can just brush it off and say,
Yeah.
whatever, dude.
Yeah, I think a mentor would probably also take like another tone to write a comment, or maybe just drop your message like privately.
Yeah. Context matters as well.
Yeah.
Because I've even done that before too, where sometimes it was hard for me to tell if they were being serious or if they were, messing around. So, because I can take criticism, like people, when I first started teaching a long time ago, like 2017, I had no filter. So I was cussing, I was burping on the microphone, just it was bad. And people would come up to me and be like, yo, John, you can't be cussing, you can't be burping, like that's nasty, like da da da. And because I didn't realize it, like because I'm in my room, I'm playing video games, like I'm just acting natural, right? And so I brought that into the teaching realm, and that was not good.
That
So
was
people
already
had to
teaching
tell
how
me.
to trade. So it was already like teaching trading.
Yeah, that was before I became an educator for the last company I was with.
Yeah.
So this was like way, way before that. I was teaching before I was an educator. Yeah. And that's what people did. They had to tell me, and I didn't know. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't, do those things. And so I had to end up stopping to do that. So yeah, that criticism is fine. But when it's just you work for a pyramid scheme, you're a scammer, this, that, it's like you don't know anything.
Yeah.
So your opinion is worthless.
Definitely. I agree. Yeah. Thank you. That helped me a lot because it was first time and I didn't know should I respond or not, but I had the feeling that it's not worth like a response. So I will probably just ignore it.
Yeah, I mean that's all it is. It's just their projection. We've all done it though. I'm sure at one point or another we've all done that. Even as children, we get mad because we have to eat our vegetables and that we can't have dessert first. And it's like we're acting we might think it's rational because it's like, dude, I just want the ice cream. I don't want these green beans. Like, what is this? But now that you're an adult, it's like, okay, I do need the vegetables and less of the ice cream. But you don't know that until you have that experience, until you like you really know. So, but yeah, I would suggest Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's like $8 on Amazon.
Yeah,
so,
I'm going to buy it right now for my Kindle.
Yeah, do it. It's really good, and I think you'll love it. So,
yeah, I think so too.